Hi. Welcome to temporary office in lockdown. I decided that I would. This isn't a live stream. I'm trying out Streamlabs, which is based on OBS. I tried OBS, and this seems a bit easier, I think. And I thought I would just do a quick recording of me doing a bit of work on the Oikos Digital website. Excuse me. Reason for doing this is that just to show off a bit of the technology that I'm using on this site, which might be unfamiliar to some of my followers. So I am using Statamic for this site, which I probably won't show much of today. Statamic is what's called a flat file CMS, so it doesn't have a database. It can have a database, but out of the box it doesn't. You put all your content in flat files and it converts them into a clever cache type thing and builds pages for you, and it's very, very clever. It's got a lovely dashboard and is really good for this kind of site. And I'm using Tailwind CSS, which is what's called a utility first CSS framework. And so I'll show you a bit of that. Today's job is simply to, hang on, let me just turn my trackpad on. Today's job is partly experimenting with OBS and streaming technology. But to do that, I'm going to add that right down at the very bottom of my site. I'm going to, oh gosh, this section is such a mess, this footer. I'm going to tidy this up at some point. But today's job is to add a strip across the bottom or something with my company information for Oikos Digital Limited. I'm going to need to remember my own business registration number. That is somewhere. Where is that? That's on gov.uk/company search. It's showing me. Oh, this is so funny. If you're a developer geek like me, someone created a company called ;drop table companies ;dash limited. This is a real company that someone set up. Hilarious. Anyway, I can't spell my own company name. I'm going to be quite, I don't know, I'm going to enjoy recording and streaming if I ever do much streaming. So here's me. This is the number that I need. Copy that. Nice. A few things about my setup, actually. I reduced my screen resolution for recording and streaming so that you can see a bit more of what I'm doing, particularly if you're on a mobile small device. Top tip for streaming and video recording on a Mac is if you hold down the Alt key. Yeah, if I click on this, it's going to show you all my notifications, which I don't really want to do. But there is an option if you click this little thing here to go into, what's it called? Do not disturb mode, I think it's called. But I can do it just by alt click. There you go. I've got a notification there. Oh, it scans Streamlabs. My virus scanner scans Streamlabs. Yay! It is safe to use. Let's hope so. So I alt click this and it turns all my notifications off, which is kind of cool. I've got loads of stuff in my bar up here. We can talk about tools I use another time. I use Firefox. I use Item. I use Alfred instead of whatever the Mac thing is called, Spotlight. I use in Item. I'm using ZSH with My ZSH and nice colors and interesting setup and stuff. But that's not for today. It's just if it looks a bit unusual, then they're the things I'm using. And I can't remember what I'm using for editing. Oh, I'm using Sublime for editing this particular project. That's it. So my project is Oikos Statamic 3 Beta. That's great. So we want to, I copied that number into my clipboard, didn't I? That was good. We want to add a bar at the bottom of here. It's going to be maybe like a darker grey. And it's going to have some company information in, because that is a legal requirement for my website, I think. Another quick note. It's gone because I've cleared it. Oh, well. This website, I kind of launched it early. I wanted to launch it because it's way better than the one I had before, but it's not complete, and I'm kind of developing in the open, and you can read about that here. in my more on developing in the open post. And there's a public Trello board, excuse me, that you can see what I'm going to do. I should go to that actually. And oh no, in a new tab, please. There we go, that's a bit better. Am I logged into Trello in my browser? Let's hope so. This is fun. Cool. So in my soon next, I have add legal company info. So let's put that in progress. These are actually coming along. I have a video about static caching that I'm editing. I have an articles page format. That's, I really need to sort my navigation out. That's here. So this is coming along. There's a few static things I need to sort out with that. And I've got some empty articles that are coming along, but that's not what I'm doing today. Add legal company info. So this is what I need to do. Be really useful actually. Oh, duh. To put my company info. No. Where was it? Over here. Copy that. Paste that in there. Just for reference. Nice. Great. So let's go and do this thing. So this is my live copy of the site. I'm running Laravel Valet, so I can just go Oikos Datamic 3 beta.test. No. That's not what I want to do. Gosh, that's a slow first load. It's not like that in the real site. It's really fast in the real site, I hope. There you go. That's better. Get all the cache primed. It's probably okay now. No, what are you doing? Oh, it's because I'm streaming, isn't it? It's because I'm recording with the thing. So my local web server is really slow. Anyway, so this is my local thing here. We're going to add a bar to the bottom. I might... See, I've got Tailwind UI. I bought Tailwind UI, which is a collection of components made by the Tailwind CSS guys. People. They may not all be guys. And oh, I am signed in. I am signed in as me. That's good. I'm wondering if we have footers in here. Here's some footers. So that's just got, this is going to be easy to do, isn't it? I was just wondering if they had some design inspiration for a footer. That's quite nice with the icons over there. No, I'm just going to do my own thing, I think. So, cool. Let's go to Sublime. Let's open, I've got footer. How does that fit with the layout? So it's in Statamic, template files are in, gosh, I've got this open on the side. Don't normally have this open. They're in resources, views, and I've got a layout which gives the kind of header and footer stuff. So that's this file here. It's got doc type, HTML, blah, blah, blah. Everything down to navigation, button for mobile nav, and then template content is where all the content for the particular page you're looking at goes. And then I've got footer, and then I've got scripts before the body. So partial footer is okay. That's going to be the last thing before we close, before we print scripts and then close the body tag. So let's go add it to this. So this is all in my footer here. What's this one? Oops. Don't delete a space. That's bad form. Okay, I'm just going to make another of these. So in Tailwind, it's what's called utility first. So you put, there are these classes, like container is actually something I created. Container gives you some stuff. Ah, no, I haven't defined container. Does container come with Tailwind? So this is a tool called Dash Docs where I can easily look up stuff in the Tailwind CSS docs, and I can get to Dash Docs through Alfred. So if I do Alt space to launch Alfred, I can then type I can't type. I can type Tailwind, and then I can search for things in Tailwind. So I wanted to search for container, like that, and then that opens the doc page for container. So container just gives me some max widths. Okay, that's cool. I can handle that. And then within the container, so container is a utility that basically gives you some kind of max width. And then I've got margin on the x-axis, so margin left and right is auto. At the large breakpoint, it enables grid and gives me grid columns 4. I'm not going to want that for this bit of the footer. I'm not going to want the grid and the grid gap. So I can delete all of that. And the great thing about Tailwind is I can just create the style of the thing that I want without having to think about naming it. And there's only going to be one of these footers. So like creating a name and then deciding on a name for it, working out if I'm ever going to reuse it, and then, you know, adding it to some CSS and compiling the CSS. And yeah, it's just a bit painful. So this is going to be a container. This footer's not in a container, is it? It's a site footer. It's relative. It has a grey background. Because this is the thing that has the grey background, I'm probably going to need to break out of that. So maybe this isn't semantic enough. I also, with Tailwind, a lot of people don't seem to do this, but I actually like to give IDs to things so that I know when I look, so one of the key criticisms of Tailwind is, okay, this div here, this tells me what this thing looks like, but it doesn't tell me what it is. So I should probably give this an ID of site footer inner or something, just so that I know what it is. Although because it's just inside site footer, it's probably okay to do that. I'm pretty pragmatic about stuff like this. This is an interesting case. This is effectively this is a column, isn't it? So I should probably give, I can't give this, I could give this ID equals footer column 1 or something. That'd be quite good to do. Anyway, let's not do it just now. That's not the job at hand. I'm getting so distracted trying to explain to you stuff as I go along. We're making this footer bar. It's a contain x mx auto. Let's do bg gray. Sublime gives me some nice autocomplete, and the numbers that you get on classes, the higher you go, the darker it is. So this is background gray 700. This one's going to be background gray, a bit darker. Let's make it 900. And the color of the text is going to be white. So we're just going to go text white. We probably want some, we'll put something inside this footer bar. So this is going to be gray and full width. So inside this, we're going to want the container. This is just like the container of the container to make it full width. Inside this, let's have div.container.mxauto. So this gives me my full width gray with text white. This gives me my max width container and centers it. And then in here, we're just going to say, I don't know if this is going to work just yet. Oikos Digital Limited, a company registered in, where am I registered? England. Number, and I want that number from Hello Trello. Probably still in my clipboard, but just in case. And I actually use Alfred's clipboard, has like a clipboard history, which is really useful. But if I press Command Alt-C to get my clipboard history now. I don't know what you're going to see, and I might not be allowed to show you some things that are in my clipboard history. So I won't. There's that number. I don't want a colon. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. So we should have a full width dark grey container with white text. This is centered. Sorry, this has a max width and is centered. And so let's save that file, and then let's go and reload over here. Oh, I want some padding top and bottom to give it some breathing room. You like. What's going on here then? It may be, so one of the things about Tailwind, and I need to automate this better, is that when I do npm run prod, it will strip out any CSS that I'm not using, which means if this is the first place in my site that I'm using BG Gray 900, then that won't be in my Tailwind CSS file. So that's if I run npm run prod, it does what's called purge CSS and gets rid of any CSS defined that is not used in the templates. So for development purposes, I need to do npm run dev, which can take a while, and given that I'm recording as well, it's going to take even longer. This generates me a Tailwind file which has all of the Tailwind stuff in and is huge, several megabytes I think. This is where streaming isn't fun because I can't edit this out, which I normally would if I was making a video. Go and get my hair cut while I'm waiting for this to happen. It's been a while. I love the progress. I love that we get nothing and then 10%, and then all of a sudden we'll get 70%, and then it'll all happen. And the progress indicator gives you no indication of the progress whatsoever. I remember in computer science user interface class, there were 3 things a progress bar should do. One is it should show you how far through the process you are. It should communicate to you the rate at which progress is happening. And I can never remember what the third thing was. But even if most progress bars did the first 2 things, they'd be an awful lot more useful than they generally are. See nothing, and it's building really slowly because I'm recording my screen. Let me show you another tip. So in iTerm, command minus shrinks the text and command plus makes the text bigger. So when I'm streaming or recording, I tend to do command plus a few times to make my text bigger, so you can see that I'm still stuck on 10% and it's still building. So what this will do, this will create the entire Tailwind config. There you go, 70%, and then the last 30% will take no time at all relative to the rest of it. And what the thing is, once this is done for development, then I've got all the CSS. I've got every Tailwind class that possibly exists. I can do my development, and then I can just run npm run prod, which I should probably do in my deployment script rather than locally. But I'm in 2 minds about that for several reasons that I won't go into right now. So I'm just doing everything a bit manually at the moment. Boring, boring, boring. Let's go add that padding while we wait. So we're doing footer. So this container, I probably don't want it on the inner bit. I want it on the outer bit. So I can add some top bottom padding by doing padding Y, padding on the Y axis. Let's do, I don't want too much. Let's try PY6. Excuse me, excuse me, gives me 1.5 rem. That's kind of cool. I don't want X padding really because the container is giving me that. Maybe I do. But I want that on, maybe we'll put this on the container. Oops, no, I don't want to delete all of that. Padding Y6, and let's just, for when we're collapsed on mobile, we probably want some padding X. Well, it should probably be the same as all my other containers. Let's make that 8. Save that. Come on. Oh, you're still building. Oh, there we go. Bang. So we got 3.79 megabytes of Tailwind.css. Nice. Don't open my gitkeep file. And so we should now be able to reload this. Well, let's just check. So this is what I had loaded before, and it's got BG Grey 900 text white. I've got text white. I don't have BG Grey 900. So Purge CSS had stripped out BG Grey 900 because I wasn't using it anywhere else on the site. This one with container and MX Auto, you can see over here the MX Auto rule exists and the container rule exists. So I've just got some white text with no padding. Probably if I highlight this, there we go, we can see it. Reload now though. So I'm going to now load 3.79 megabytes of CSS. There we go. What's that going to do for now? That's kind of all I wanted to do. Too much top padding. So Firefox doesn't necessarily make tweaking stuff in the browser easy. I want to change this PY6 so I can double click it down here and modify it. Or I can go over to the right hand side, I can add different classes. So I could add PY4 to see what that's like. And then I've got to turn the PY6 off. That's better. PY6 is too much. So PY4. I just need to check, I need my address as well. That's not here, is it? I'm going to add that somewhere else another time. But I'm easy to find, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's PY4, PX8. Let's just check it in mobile. So I do Command-Shift-D, sticks that on the side, switch to mobile mode. Show me this on something the same size as an iPhone. Ah, so I've got this clever little pop-up menu here. That's not working. Work. Sometimes Firefox is because I've got 3.79 megabytes of CSS, Firefox can be a bit slow at redrawing. And in fact, when I change that, it hasn't redrawn it at all. So there we go. So I've got this problem that my little footer menu is overlapping that. So what do I want to do about that? I want to add enough padding on small breakpoints that this text sits above the menu. So the menu has a height of what we got? We might just have to tinker with this because there isn't a height. I've got padding Y3 on the menu, but I don't have a height set on the menu. It's just using whatever my text inside the button is, plus the padding. So we might have to tinker with this a bit. Let's go back to here. So on... Well, no, what we want to do is it's mobile first. So I want to add my padding and then remove it when we're back at probably medium width. So we're going to do padding bottom 8. I've already set padding Y to 4. So padding top 4, padding bottom 8, and then padding 8 on the X axis. Save that. I could do it in here. Let's reload for now. Reloads are slow, so tinkering with my classes inside the browser should be quicker. And the refresh is only slow because I'm recording myself what I'm doing. Let's make this bigger. Don't want that button, I want the footer. And I want, so padding bottom 8, not enough. Padding bottom 12. Did that even work? Yes. It's not done that redraw. Firefox can be a bit twitchy with this redrawing weirdness. padding bottom, don't know what the next one is, 16. The scale in Tailwind doesn't include every number. Padding bottom 20. And it's not quite refreshing properly. Oh, see, that's better. Oh, it's just because I need to scroll down further. That's good. Padding bottom maybe 18. What was 16 like? I need to scroll it down. Can we do 18? PB 18. Does it? So, like I say, not every number is present. So I'm going 16 or 20. 16. 16's all right. Menu pops up above it. That's fine. PB 16. So we're going to do PB 16. Now, of course, that looks daft when I get... Oops. Hello. What's happened there? Why have I got horizontal scroll? Something sticking. Oh, I've just got some of these little things here. Oh, skill. Why is that showing skills? Oh, weird. That's weird. Statamic doing weird stuff. So when I get beyond, when my columns turn on, about there. So now I've got too much padding bottom. So what we're going to say is when I get to probably medium width, I want my padding bottom and padding top to be the same. So we're going to do padding bottom 4. Do another slow reload. So that's sweet. As I make it narrower, Firefox is trying to redraw this based on nearly 4 megabytes of CSS still, which is why it's slow. Okay, awesome. Cool. I'm happy with that. So this is all version control with Git. So we're going to do git add star, git commit -m, add footer bar. I'm just wondering actually. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to want it in a minute. What files did I change? I'm going to need to rebuild my CSS for pub. Now running npm run prod is actually way quicker, though it'll still be slow because I'm recording. Edit. I would if I could. I should have random facts lined up about something for times like this when nothing is happening. So this site is deployed using a thing called Laravel Forge. So the next steps of this process are we're going to commit the changes that I made with the correct purged and compressed CSS rather than the full 3.8 megabytes worth. And so we'll commit this all into Git and push it up to the private Git repository, and then Forge will get a notification that I've pushed the repository up and it will automatically deploy it. So that's pretty cool. I mean, like, it's just a standard deployment process, really. So, added everything. GST is an alias for Git status, so it shows me which files have been modified. My Tailwind CSS, my manifest that tells, says where my asset files are, my CSS and JS files, and the footer which I've updated. So that's great. I can git Oh, I saved my command. No. What? Oh, I highlighted something. Git commit -m add footer info bar and then git push origin password for my secure key. So that'll push up. Lovely. And then just give it a little minute or two and we should be able to go to https://oikos.digital. Hopefully you learned a bit about Tailwind CSS. You didn't really see static in action at all. Maybe you just saw some of my workflow and process and tools that I use, and maybe that was of interest. So we're going to reload this and hope it's been pushed and hope the static cache has cleared. And there we go. We have a footer bar. I'm just going to, one thing I didn't do was test a bigger screen. So I'm just going to do Command- to zoom out. And it is a bit weird. It is offset because I put some padding on here, but that's all cool. I'm happy with that. Let's stop and, oh no, this is going to be good. We can, here's a little tip. Did you know if you put done and then in here, put the little party icon. This is a funny Trello feature. If you put this little party icon on a list and then move an item to that list, add legal company info, watch what happens. Hey, we get confetti for doing something. It's very cool. So, great stuff. Thanks for being on the journey. How do I stop this recording? Ah.